Hello, in this live webinar or live session, we are going to talk about separation anxiety. If your dog is suffering from separation anxiety, I'm going to offer you some solutions, some guidance, some ideas that you can start dealing with this issue. All that and more, and I'm going to also answer your questions. All that and more in today's session.
If you want to learn the negative effects of treat training, which causes your dog to develop bad behaviors and health issues, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to get notified about our next video.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Hope you're doing well and hope you're in a good state of mind. Relax, have a good time, have a drink, have a cup, whatever your favorite drink is. Sit down and relax and enjoy the live session. We're going to talk about separation anxiety, specifically. I'm going to try to answer your questions regarding separation anxiety as well. If you have other questions, go ahead and type them in the chat area. I'll answer those questions as well. But specifically today, I wanted to talk about separation anxiety. Please let me know where you're watching this live session. Let me make sure that everything is working fine. There's a video, there's audio. I have a poll on the chat area as well. Let me know if your dog is suffering from separation anxiety. So basically, what is separation anxiety? In a simple term, separation anxiety is a dog's fear of, or they get distressed when they are left alone or separated from their owner. That's basically it. That's what separation anxiety is. When your dog is having a panic attack when you leave it alone. So if you are experiencing that, let me know in the chat area, in the comments area as well. If you're experiencing a situation like that, if your dog is experiencing any separation anxiety, I would love to hear your stories and what your dog is also going through. We're going to talk about a lot of things. I'm hoping that you will get something out of this live session. Plus, I'm going to answer your questions also. So when it comes to separation anxiety, as I said, it's basically a dog panicking or getting into distress or stressing itself because it's being left alone or being separated from its owner. And there are different levels. There's a mild, moderate, and a severe level. Mild, light, mild, or heavy, I would say. But let's start with mild and moderate and severe type of I would say response from your dog. The mild version is basically the dog is a little bit panicking when you leave it alone. The moderate one is they're stressed a little bit and they're starting to panic a little bit more, and they're going around and they don't know what to do. And the severe cases are the ones that basically they either cause some form of damage to the property or themselves or both, or they're really in panic mode and they don't know what to do. So for example, my own dogs, I have let me see, Harvey and Annie at the moment. So I would say Harvey's is mild, Annie's it's moderate, kind of. The reason for that is because first of all, because we leave them home alone, for instance, and they are staying together, because they have each other, it's a little bit easier. They can kind of get energy, share energy between themselves, and kind of feel a little bit not alone in a way. But the main thing is that they're when we are leaving them home alone, they get a little bit stressed because they're separated from us or from me, right? uh, Dogs, they really love us, and when we leave them home alone, it's a it's very meaningful to them. It has several meanings. When you leave a dog home alone, in their mind they're thinking, oh, um, I'm being punished, or they're thinking that they are not important and being left, or we're saying, I'm going to punish you with this act, I'm going to leave it, since because of this, I'm going to leave you alone, that you're going to be punished. So they're seeing it from different points of view of when we are leaving them home alone. So they're not just seeing that, oh, in your mind, when you're leaving them, you're saying you got the house, you can do whatever you want, you have your water, you have your space and all these, and you should be fine. But in their mind, all those things don't matter. What it matters is, first of all, what did I do that I don't deserve this? What did I do that you're leaving me home alone? Second of all, they're thinking, what did I do that you're punishing me? And third of all, why are you leaving me home alone? I need you. I love you. So there are so many things in their minds when they're leaving, right? Um, John, the Beagle Dad, says, I never had a more chill dog. All she does is sleep when I'm not home. That's great. Yeah. My dogs are kind of like that too. They sleep, right? They chill, they relax in a way. Um, I would say it's a funny in a way. Harvey, for example, uh, he says, finally, I can have peace and quiet in the house, so I can relax now. Finally, they went out. But for example, Annie, she's, because of her breed, she's a mixed dog. Uh, she gets into that protection guard mode, that she has to guard the house. So she uh, she patrols the house. So she makes sure that the house is in safe mode, and checks everything, all the windows, all the doors and things, just to make sure everything is fine, and then relaxes and then gets into that mode again to patrol the house. The reason I know this, because I have put cameras and I've filmed them what they do. So I was curious to know what they were doing while we were away. We have left our dogs for an hour, but we have left them for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, not more than 4 hours. We try not to leave them more than 4 hours. Cheryl says, I have two beagles and they keep each other company. Yes, that's the thing. Yes, she confronted armadillo the other day. Yes, keep each other company. John says Rue patrols the house after dinner. Thank you very much. Yeah, if you're enjoying this live session and you're benefiting from the content that I'm going to share with you, please give it a like and share the video. So we also have Megan, says, help guys, my name is Megan and my dog Charlie has anxiety separation disorder, and we have tried everything to keep him calm, and me and my husband live in an apartment complex. Don't worry, I'm going to share some ideas, some solutions today. So we're going to try to help you to come up with some ideas that you can start implementing right away, actually. So first of all, let's understand, now we know what anxiety is in dogs and how it goes. There's a mild level, mid level, extreme level. So in Megan's case, I'm guessing um, it's severe level, right? So we're gonna address all those. So some of the symptoms that they, or some of the behaviors that dogs do when they are suffering separation anxiety is they may be barking, maybe this, as I said, they may um, damage the house, right? They may be pacing, drooling. They may be having accidents in the house, peeing and pooping in the house. Um, all these are signals that the dogs are suffering and are panicking, right? It's important for you to have an idea of how your dog is doing while you're away, while you're out. I recommend nowadays, to put a camera to film your dog while you're not home to see what they're actually doing while you're not home. You can, buy those cameras that record, and you can see their reaction, the action going on your phone. Or you can, if you have a camcorder or something like that, you can just put it on record, and when you're back, you can watch to see what they're doing. The other suggestion I have is, if you have an old phone that is hanging around and you're not using, usually the cameras are fine. What you can do, you can use your old phone and just put it in the house and just record your dogs during while you're not home, and see what they do, right? See their reaction. Are they really panicking, or do they panic and then calm down and then relax and then panic again and then calm down? Or is it panic and then calm down? Or is it calm and then start panicking? So figure out how um, how they're reacting while you're not home. This will give you some ideas of how to deal with your dog's separation anxiety as well. I know, for example, just like Megan, um, she lives in an apartment complex. Probably the dog is barking and the neighbors are complaining and annoying them and all that. So that's one of the triggers, or that it's happening. It's barking, but barking on its own is not a good indication of what they're doing, how they're doing. So you want to make sure that you kind of have a better idea of how your dog is doing. And the best way is to record, film, or put a camera and figure out, visually see what they do during the time that you're away. Now, the possible triggers that can cause your dog to have this separation anxiety, this anxiety, um, are basically when you leave them home alone, when you leave the house. Maybe a family member has moved out, or a family member has moved in, and you're going in and out. That can cause or trigger your dog to have that anxiety. um, Maybe your schedule has changed, your work or life schedule has changed, and therefore what is happening is you're causing this irregular um, schedule or routine to affect your dog. So those could be also triggers, could be maybe only when your maybe wife goes out and your dogs panic, or maybe when you go out, or your dad goes out, or your mom goes out, or your kids go out. Find out which one again is triggering. What is really exactly triggering your dog to have this anxiety? I remember a few years ago when there was the pandemic, there was a situation that people were staying at home, right? So they realized, oh, that they can is a great opportunity to adopt dogs. So many people went ahead and adopted dogs from shelter, and almost the shelters were empty, and it was good in a way. There was a pros and cons that happened. Pros were that dogs got adopted. The cons were that all the dogs went to a home that were not suitable for those dogs. So what happened was, yes, the dogs were adopted, went to home, and people felt that, okay, I'm staying home. I'm going to bring the dogs home, bring a dog home and stay with me. But then a few months later or a year later, everything kind of started going back to normal, and people decided to go out and decided to go back to work, back to this and that and that, back to normal. Now the dog was gotten used to the idea that I'm going to be staying home with the human, but all of a sudden the human started going to work, going out of the house. So that itself, it the change of schedule, you know, uh, change of lifestyle caused many dogs to have separation anxiety, and to the point that these dogs were returned to the shelters because the dog owners, they were having a hard time dealing with these dogs because it was just too much, right? So that's something that also we have to be aware, right? John says, I work from home, but I have had no problem living room alone. She's not destructive at all. That's great. Yes, that's great. Um, you're one of the lucky ones, actually. uh, Now, the other reason that your dog may be uh, going through this anxiety could be breed specific related. Uh, some breeds are prone to be dealing with separation anxiety more than others, and sometimes some breeds and some dogs, they don't show any signs regarding the breed also. So, for example, just like John said, her beagle, Rue, it's not destructive at all. It's very chill. It doesn't feel panicky, right? Uh, uh, so I think when it comes to the separation anxiety, you have to also consider your dog's breed. There are certain breeds that are more sensitive than other breeds. When I talk about breeds, um, I mean, every country has different breed categories, but overall, the working breeds, even though in my opinion, personal opinion, all dogs are working breeds, but the working breeds that are in the books and in the system, Or, for example, let's say border collies and golden retrievers, even working breeds, are more sensitive when it comes to separation anxiety. So there are certain breeds that are very sensitive breeds. And what happens is when you are dealing with a sensitive breed, whenever, especially you leave them home alone or you leave them, it's like very, uh, it's a slap in their face. It's like it's one of the worst things that you can do to a dog, to that breed. Um, for example, the example that I use as considering a breed is, for example, if you tell a beagle to clean a spot, clean a room, a beagle will come and just do this and do that and consider it clean and say, okay, where's my payment? Where's my lunch? But whereas when you ask a border collie to clean the same room, it will go and get all the cleaning tools that it needs. It'll get all the cleaning materials that it needs. It'll come and clean the house from corner to the corner, make sure everything is spotless, check everything, double check, and then ask you, are you happy with the results? And if you say, oh, you missed the spot, they will say, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. I didn't want to. I'll go and clean it up. Don't worry. I'll take care of it. Or if you say yes or no, they take it really personally, right? So that's the sensitivity that I'm talking about. They're very sensitive. They take everything very seriously. And if you do anything with these sensitive breeds without having any pre-planned activities and not consider their sensitivity, they take everything very personally. So, for example, if you leave a working breed home alone, it's for them, it's like you are really punishing them. They have done something really wrong and they are being left home alone to learn a lesson, right? So, overall, what happens is because dogs, they have been bred for humans by humans, they're very connected to humans and they are very, very attached to humans. And when you detach them, there's lots of emotional feelings happening in the dog because they're very attached to us. In the background, you can hear Harvey barking. He just came back from the walk and he's very excited and he's having his uh, um, runs in the house. He gets excited after he comes home after the walks. It's interesting. He starts running around and celebrating that he went for a walk and he's back. So yes, he's having the zoomies. So so you have to understand that a breed can also affect your dog's mental state. Now, these were kind of to give you some ideas of why and what is happening in your dog's mind from your dog's point of view, right? Uh, so you have to understand that first of all, they're panicking when you leave them home alone. Second of all, you have to measure, you have to learn and measure and understand what is the panic level. Is it mild? Is it extreme? What is it? You have to figure out the levels. You have to figure out what are the triggers. Is it you only that you go out and your dog panics? Is it um, Is it a family member that goes out? Is it because everybody goes out that your dog panics, or is it certain individuals that goes out? Is it because of this? Is it because of that? What triggers your dog to to have a panic attack, right? Separation anxiety. So Megan is saying my dog is blue tick beagle with husky mix, and he tends to bark a lot. I like to know how we can calm him down. He is on anxiety meds and stomach meds, and me and my husband and kind of at a loss for words. So okay, I'm gonna now dive into some solutions. Um, and these are good information that you're sharing with me, Megan. So let's start with solutions. So first of all, let's talk about prevention. So if you have a dog and it's young and puppy, um, you want to start preventing it from happening. You want to start um, allowing the dog to learn to not to panic while you're in and out of the house. Um, you got to start from puppy age. When they're young and puppy, I would say 5, 6 months and older, you can start leaving them home alone, little by little, so they learn to be comfortable home alone. In a way, either home alone or comfortable to be alone, right? Um, Overall, you want to teach your dog that you're independent, you can tolerate anything that life throws at you in a way, right? Including being home alone, right? So what you want to do when you have a puppy, you want to gradually start increasing the time that you're going to be leaving your puppy home alone. So I'll start with like 5 minutes, increase it to 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and on and on, until we get to the point that we can leave our puppy for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, and all that. So if you do it that way, eventually what's going to happen, your dog is going to learn that it's not a bad thing to be left home alone, and they're going to get used to it, and it becomes a natural, normal life lesson that they learned from puppy, right? From the time that they were a puppy, they got used to the idea to be left home alone, and eventually they're going to get used to it. And one of the suggestions that I have when you have a puppy is create an environment that is safe for the puppy to be while you're not home. Um, One of them could be, crate. You could put your puppy in a crate. That's the first, I would say, plan A would be, right, to be in a crate while you're not home. Because what happens is when you put the puppy in a crate, first of all, it doesn't have the opportunity to wander around and walk around the house and stress itself more. When you put it in a crate, it gives the puppy that, oh, that's all I got. That's all the space that I got, and uh, that's the that's the only thing that I can control and I can be worried about is my space in this crate. So when you limit the space, when you limit the area that they have to wander around, um, they start kind of either giving up or they start saying, you know what, that's all I got, and therefore they relax. So you're helping your puppy to learn to relax while you're away by simply using uh, a tool, right? So you're teaching your puppy that while I'm away, you can relax. But I don't suggest leaving a puppy inside of the crate more than, I would say, 2 hours. Again, when I talk about puppies being left home alone, I don't suggest leaving puppies as early as 6 months and younger. You want to start 6 months and older to gradually start teaching them to be left home alone. The reason for that is when your puppy is younger than 6 months old and you start leaving them home alone, there are these emotional, psychological panic attacks that can affect your dog's mental states and behavior as well. Um, because puppies, they need that uh, parental connection. I don't suggest leaving puppies younger than 6 months home alone because they still need that assurance from the parents. Um, when it comes to puppies, you become its parent, right? You become their parent, so they need that assurance, that security blanket that they need during the puppy age. So I don't suggest to leave them home alone or leave them alone at all until 6 months and older, when they are a little bit, um, I would say, more mature to start learning and understanding life, understanding what is actually happening, and they have a little bit of confidence in themselves. So I would suggest to do that. For example, keeping them in a crate or creating an environment and a room that is secure and safe, so for the puppy to be, if you have a little den or little room storage area that is safe for the puppy to be. When I say storage area, I don't mean a room full of food and stuff like that you're storing valuables, and then what happens if your puppy gets into them? You want to make sure the room is safe if you're going to leave your puppy alone there. So you see what we are doing. I want you to understand that one of the reasons also dogs have separation anxiety is because most dog owners, they don't go through these steps as well. So your dog could be that has gone through a traumatic situation when they were younger than 6 months old. Maybe you left them home alone or something, or previous owner, if you have adopted the dog and you don't know the backstory of your dog, that could be causing your dog also to develop that anxiety from young age, that they didn't have that security blanket when they were young and they were left home alone, and that caused the whole system to break down and for them to develop separation anxiety from young age. Um, Young age is very, very important for dog owners to realize that that's the development age, about up to 6 months old. So it's important to do everything properly and everything right. um, so when you're dealing with your puppy, when you have a young dog, what I would suggest is, again, put your puppy in a crate, go out of the house, come back in 5 minutes, and just praise your dog for tolerating 5 minutes. If your puppy can't tolerate 5 minutes, then it's a situation that your puppy has to learn um, how to deal with being separated from you for 5 minutes, right? So one of the things that I usually suggest, um, definitely you want to make sure that you're approaching this issue, like not just this issue, overall, you're approaching your dog's training using positive reinforcement. You don't want to punish your dog for panicking when your puppy or your dog is panicking. You don't want to panic yourself, um, and you don't want to reward panic behavior as well. So I know when your dog is suffering, and your dog is having separation anxiety. Thank you, Robert, for joining in. uh, when you see that your dog is panicking, first of all, when it's suffering from separation anxiety, you don't want to punish that dog. You don't want to approach it from negative perspective, because if a dog is panicking and then you also approach with negative energy, with anger and frustration and stress, what that means is, as a leader, as a father, as a parent, as a human, you're saying, I'm panicking as well, therefore I'm reacting to this situation from negative point of view, and I'm punishing you for you because you are panicking as well. So if your dog is panicking and you panic as well, you know, you're not helping each other. You're feeding off that that negative energy. So what you want to do is approach it with having positive reinforcement point of view. So one of the things that I suggest when it comes to working with dogs who have separation anxiety, it's training. Yes, it is training that you want to focus on, um, but training is not the only thing that you want to focus on. And I'm sure you have learned and heard me saying this over and over many times. But what happens is, either dog trainers or dog owners, friends and family members, they will say, you got to train your dog. But training is not the only thing that you have to do in order to deal with this situation. Because yes, training is one of the pillars, but is not the only thing that you can do. You have to you have to figure out that I have to provide these dogs five essential needs in order for it to be happy, that or okay, in a way that I'm going to be leaving it home alone. Now, training, as I said, I'll touch on training, what you should do, how you should do it, but understanding that exercise, training, socialization, care, and affection are the pillars that you have to focus on in order to address any behavior, right? Not only separation anxiety. If one thing that I want you to understand is that when a dog is giving you a behavior, in your point of view, is unwanted behavior, right? For instance, separation anxiety from your point of view is unwanted behavior. From your dog's point of view is a normal behavior. But from your point of view, it's unwanted behavior. Whenever you're dealing with an unwanted behavior from your dog, it's a signal to you that you're not providing your dog's daily five essential needs. No matter what the behavior is, a dog is not capable of having this conversation with you just like we are having. Like, a dog cannot come and say, "Mom, Dad, can we have a sit and have a coffee? And I want to talk to you. I want to tell you what I'm feeling." They can't do that, unfortunately. We haven't got to that point yet that a dog can sit down and have a chat with us and tell us exactly how they're feeling inside and how they're feeling. I don't know if I want to hear it. I don't know if I want to hear it, actually. I don't know exactly if I will feel comfortable if my dog would have a conversation with me. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it's a good idea if your dog could talk to you, just like I'm talking to you? Anyways, let me know in the chat area. uh, yeah, they don't have this ability to talk to you, right? So therefore, what they do, they behave. They show their feelings and emotions and the way that they're feeling inside with their behavior. So they dig a hole, they bark, they growl, they attack other humans, other dogs. They have separation anxiety. They have anxiety when you separate them. All these things, they're telling you that you haven't been providing your dog's daily five essential needs. So, for example, John the Beagle, that John Cipolla was saying that I work from home, but I have had no problem living Rue alone. She's not destructive at all. So why is it that, for example, John is not dealing with this issue when his beagle is left home alone? I would say one of the obvious reason is that John is providing his dog's daily five essential needs when or where he leaves his dog home alone, right? And why is it that Megan is the dog is dealing with anxiety? I would guess that Megan is not providing its dog's daily five essential needs, which are exercise, training, socialization, care, and affection. And it has to be provided in this order. You know, um, exercise is something that it creates that physical stimulation for the dog. Training is a mental stimulation for a dog. Socialization is social stimulation for the dog. Care is physiological stimulation, and affection is emotional stimulation for a dog. All these stimulations have to be provided for a dog in order for the dog says, you know what, I'm happy, I'm satisfied, nothing will harm or bother me anymore. So we want to make sure that we are focused on providing those daily five essential needs for the dog. Robert's saying food and affection are primary inducement sorrow, not positive reinforcement. I would love to have a private Zoom about the science. Oh, there's Robert. Um, there's so many points of view and so many ways of looking at dog training, in my opinion. But you're welcome to your opinion, and you're welcome to your the way you approach dog training. Uh, but my approach is a little bit different than typical dog owners, dog trainers. So you can learn a lot more from my channel of what I feel about uh, positive reinforcement and primaries and all that. But yeah, you're welcome to join in and share your thoughts. Um, but from my point, for me, food is not the primary for me is affection, play, praise is primary. I would say primary reward for a dog. John saying, "Fetch, fetch, fetch." All this dog wants to do is fetch the ball. She has free run of the house, and it's a nice long run for her. I love that Rue is play motivated. So in this case, Rue is Rue the Beagle is uh, play motivated. So we have John Cipolla is one of my students. They have used my system to train her dog, and we use play and praise. And Rue is a play motivated and can be trained. We're using play. So let's talk about play. Let's talk about training. So when we are trying to deal with specifically separation anxiety, um, first of all, we have to make sure that we are providing enough exercise for that dog. We're going to be training the dog. And we're going to be socializing that dog. Make sure that it gets its daily socialization, proper care, and also it gets its affection on a daily basis. Now, the training that I suggest to do is it's one of the simplest solutions actually, uh, and what I usually suggest to do is to teach the dog to understand that if you're leaving it home alone, it's okay. You're gonna be back without any stress. So what I suggest to do is, especially when they're puppy, or if you have a dog who's suffering separation anxiety, you gotta start teaching it the basic obedience, including the stay and wait command. And I'm gonna explain what the difference is and how you can implement this um, in your training system or the training regime that you have. So if your dog is not trained, I suggest you to start training your dog. If your dog is trained, I want you to focus on improving the stay and wait commands. So if your dog is not trained, I want you to focus on training it the basics, getting it to that point that the you go to at least intermediate level or even possible advanced level of obedience. That would be my first suggestion, to start there. If you don't have, if you haven't invested time and energy to train your dog, I suggest you to start investing time, money, energy to start training your dog. Training is very, very important. It's one of the needs of a dog. Many dog owners, they don't realize that um, training is a mental stimulation, and dogs need mental stimulation. And if you don't provide them daily mental stimulation, they're not able to um, live a healthy life. That's how nature has intended, and that's how nature is um, has made a dog to be. They need mental stimulation, some form of mental stimulation. And I suggest to focus on training because it's a very healthy, very beneficial form of mental stimulation for a dog, especially if you use play and praise as reward and train your dog. What it does, it not only stimulates more, but it stimulates it in a more healthier, beneficial way. So, number one, if you haven't invested in training your dog the basics, I suggest you to start there. If you have trained your dog the basics, let's say you have taken the puppy level class, I want you to go to next level, which is basic obedience, and then intermediate level, and then advanced. Get to there. The two commands that I suggest to improve are stay and wait. There's a difference between stay command and wait command. The stay command is basically a short command that the dog says, um, I am uh, I am seeing you, and you are around me, with me, by me, and I can see you, I can feel you. You're right there, and I'm gonna stay in one position and not move. Right. So that becomes the stay command. The stay command is, let's say, maximum 5 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever you want to work on to get your goals to that point that your dog is now staying in sit or lie down position for 10 minutes. And you're in front of your dog. Your dog can see you and can say, you know what, I don't mind this position. I can stay here as long as the human wants. Now, when you really accomplish that position, that command, then you're going to start introducing the wait command. The wait command is basically uh, the stay command, but you're not visible to the dog anymore. You're leaving the room or the house. And you're starting to teach your dog to wait. This becomes much easier for your dog to learn and understand what you're trying to teach, because you have taught the basic, the foundation, the stay command. So your dog is familiar with you staying around. And for example, in stay command, this is your dog and this is you. You're staying right there and you're saying to stay in that sit or lie down position. And then a few weeks later, you're here. A few weeks later, you're here. A few weeks later, you're there and there and there. So you're slowly detaching yourself from the dog. So the dog is learning gradually to detach itself from you. So let's say I'm over here and your dog is over here, and I asked my dog to stay for 5 minutes, and I'm over here. Your dog is gonna, for first 2 minutes is gonna be like this, for example, and then third minute is gonna be like this, and fourth minute is gonna be like this, and fifth minute is okay. I'm just gonna wait, right? So you're gradually teaching the dog to start detaching itself from you. Emotionally, now it's not very traumatic compared to when you were here or here. Now that you're here, right? You could be the few weeks later, you could be there. Few weeks later, oh, you're gone. You're not there anymore. Now your dog is not panicking as much as if you haven't done this exercise with your dog. So when you're going through this process and teaching the dog to wait, now a few months later you've got to the point that you can be over here and your dog is over here and is okay and can wait for 5-10 minutes, you standing there or you jumping around or you're going back and forth and your dog is not moving. That's even better. You're moving around, you're going here and there. You're still in the view of your dog, but your dog is not panicking, right? And then, let's say in few months or few weeks, depending on your dog and how you gradually introduce this procedure to your dog and reactions that you get, You can all of a sudden say to your dog, wait, and then leave the house, leave the room or the house, and then come back. Then the dog says, wow, that didn't affect me, didn't bother me. You go out for a minute, you come back, dog says, that didn't bother me either. And you start gradually adding time and space to the idea of leaving them home alone. And gradually you're introducing that no panic, no, you don't need to panic when I'm leaving you home alone, right? And that's how you train a dog to tolerate and not to be anxious when is dealing with separation. This way you can teach a dog that me not being present to you, not the world doesn't fall apart. You're still alive. You're still okay. Nothing went wrong, and that's the mindset that you want to teach the dog to learn. When you leave a dog home alone and the dog is dealing with separation anxiety, um, a lot of things, as I said in the beginning of the lesson, the video, a lot of things are going in their mind. And what happens is when they're in that state of mind, you can't do anything with that dog. You can't change his behavior. You can't impact the behavior or anything like that. All you have to do is, all you can do is kind of notice and realize that, okay, my dog is panicking, so I got to do something about it. So I hope that made sense, that training, yes, it's good tool to use to deal with your dog's separation anxiety, but exercise, you got to exercise your dog physically. They have to get stimulated before you leave them home alone. For example, if I'm gonna leave my dogs home alone, I take them for walks and play with them, exercise them physically, and while I'm exercising them, I do some training in there as well. Very important. You gotta do some training in there too. Reminder that I'm okay. I'm you'll be okay. Sit, stay calm, heal, and all that. You're teaching them, refreshing their memories. So I do that most of the time. I combine my exercises with training. That way, I get both worlds. I stimulate my dogs physically and mentally at the same time. Um, I make sure that they get that socialization that they need. So when we are going for a walk or when we are in the backyard or anything like that, my dogs, they get to socialize with each other, with me, with the environment, with people, with other dogs during the walks and this and that. And then I take care of them. I feed them if necessary. If we are going out, it's dinner time or lunchtime or whatever, I feed them. I take care of them. I give them water. I let them pee and poo before I will leave. I share a lot of affection. I'm saying, "Good boys, good girl. Yeah, we're gonna go out and you're gonna be fine, right?" Share affection. So I have provided all their needs. Now their mindset is ready to be going to sleep or relax, right? So as I said in the beginning again, when I leave my dogs home alone, they say, "Oh, finally we can rest." Finally, there's an opportunity for us to relax because my owner made me do exercise, training, socialization, care, and affection. Overstimulated. I need a break, right? So they look forward to have an opportunity for us to leave. Like that's another solution that I want you to think about. How can you provide enrichment for your dog, that your dog looks forward for you to leave the house? So one of the techniques that works, one of the solutions that works is, for example, a dog may like raw bone. You can give the dog the raw bone, and if they're enjoying it, and they only get it when you leave the house or you leave them home alone, they look forward for you to leave the house so they can get that raw bone, right? So instead of focusing on mom, dad being out of the house and leaving me home alone, they're focusing on, yes, finally I get the bone. What can you provide that can provide your dog some form of mental stimulation during while you're out, or as I do myself, I stimulate my dogs um, before I leave so they can just relax while I'm leaving. But if your dog, so my the way I approach it, the way I enrich my dog's uh, time while I'm out is that they say, finally I can relax without mom and dad being around. Can you provide some other form of enrichment for your dog? Can you provide a bone that your dog likes? Can you provide a toy, interactive toy that you can bring it out only when you're leaving the house? Uh, Maybe even leaving TV or the radio on can calm your dog. Classical music it's a good form of relaxing dogs. Hi, Meluna. Thank you for being here, Meluna. Um, can you? Studies have shown that classical music can provide calmness to dog. Can you maybe provide classical music only when you're leaving the house? That could be something that your dog looks forward to. Um, Now, there are other solutions, but in my opinion, any other solution other than these, I would say, if understanding the fact that if you don't mentally and emotionally address your dog's needs and wants, everything else is a band aid solution. Even the bone is a band aid solution. You know what I mean? Even the toy becomes a band aid solution. Why? Because you're not diving into the dog's inner needs and wants to provide that happiness and joy that needs while you're not out. So, what I mean by that, if your dog is making a big deal when you're leaving, it's a problem. But if it's not a big deal when you're leaving, it's not a problem. If your dog is making a big deal, that means mentally, physically, emotionally, your dog is not stimulated. Satisfied. I think we're back now. Okay. There was a technical issue, something maybe my internet kind of failed at me, but we're back. I'm gonna close everything that I don't need so it doesn't use bandwidth. So if your dog's state of mind, the physical, mental, social, psychological, physiological, and emotional needs have not been met, everything else that I'm going to share now with you as solution is a kind of a band-aid solution. So there are natural remedies that you can give to your dog to start dealing with this issue, such as CBD oil, right? Or calming chews. Uh, there are some diffusers that you can buy and, diffuse some oils that can calm your dog. There are these vests or jackets that your dog can wear that apparently puts a little bit of pressure in their system, so that creates calmness for dogs. So all these are band-aid solution. They don't deal with the real cause and real issue of separation anxiety. Um, they could definitely help. They can supplement the 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 solution, the problem that you're having with your dog. It can supplement it, but they're not the only solutions. They're not. They can't fix the problem that you have. Like, if you give CBD oil, it will only affect the dog as long as it's in its system. Once it's out of its system, it's back to reality and then panics again, right? I don't really suggest medication, remedies, and things like that because they're not dealing with the real problem. And what you want to do is deal with the real problem. And the dealing with the real problem is more work. It requires more time. It requires you to have energy to invest in it, effort, maybe money, and all that, which is not what you want to hear. It's not. People want to have the magic pill to be advised to them and say, buy this magic pill, will help you with the separation anxiety. Unfortunately, there isn't one, because if you're using magic pill, again, you're not dealing with the real cause of the issue. Two, um, uh, it's it's not realistic. You're dealing with a sentient living being, a dog, that has all the emotions that you have. Imagine, I don't know about you, but me personally, when I'm out, uh, let's say I leave my dogs home and we go for a dinner outside in a restaurant or something. After a little while, I'm starting to miss my dogs. I'm starting to have separation anxiety from my dogs. I'm too attached to my dogs, and I know how my dogs feel when they're uh, attached to me, right? So if I'm missing my dogs and I feel the emotions that I go through while I'm in a party or somewhere, and I'm starting to miss my dogs, I'm having anxiety, stressing myself. Oh, I wish I could be with my dogs, and this and that. I don't know about you. Do you feel that way as well? I miss my dogs. Um, Unfortunately or fortunately, I'm too attached to my dogs, and I know how they feel. They have the same emotions and feelings that I have, and they miss me as well. So I will do anything that I can do to help them to deal with this issue if it becomes an issue for them. But if I follow, what I preach, what I teach, I would say I would be able to eliminate the anxiety, and also help them to tolerate being home alone without me. And I have to learn how to uh, deal with it as well, right? When I'm missing my dogs, right? And definitely, I won't punish my dogs for being that way. Um, you have to be consistent. You have to implement all the techniques that I taught in this lesson, and hopefully you will be able to help your dog to tolerate the anxiety that they're going through, and uh, hopefully they will be able to understand exactly what you mean and what you want, and deal with that. I'm going to go through some of the Q&As that has been in the chat area. I'll try to catch up, um, and um, and I'll try to answer any other questions that comes up. Um, John, the beagle, that says, "I give belly rubs. She lives that and ask for more." That's good. Uh, Robert says it's not about opinion; it's about behavioral psychology 101. Inducement and compulsives are Conrad most that. And I'm not understanding what you're saying, Robert. Skinner had nothing to do with the quadrants. Positive reinforcement is the animal's desires. Removing those desires is punishment. These are too technical. I don't think my audience benefits from those types of information. I have been slowly teaching her give paw. She knows lay down, John says. Rue can undo the bed sheets. If I leave her Kong toy under the sheet, she can make the bed. Uh, and Robert's asking, what is behavior? What is a behavior, Sarah? Can you define that word? That's a that's a deep question. What is behavior? I don't know. Behavior is something that is the response to life. That's what behavior is. The way we respond to life. I think, behavior is something that the way you respond to what you get from life, the way you respond to the positives and negatives of life. And what exactly does CBD oil do? How does it interact with animal body? Uh, no. Um, I think CBD oil is, cannabis oil. Just like, people get high when they smoke. When it's in the oil format, it kind of relaxes the inner systems of the body, and kind of relaxes the muscles and the brain a little bit. But again, it's something that I would say it's a band-aid solution. I don't really suggest it, but people use it. And as I said, it could be a supplement to the problem that you have. Why do trainers always talk about behavior, but they can't seem to define it? I think I just defined it. Just basically, it is responding to life, positive, negative. Yeah, I usually, Robert, I don't uh, talk to many dog trainers. The reason for that is because I don't know about you, but here's the thing. They say if you put three trainers, dog trainers, in one room, the only thing that they will agree is that the other two are wrong. The other one is wrong. Uh, I don't like to get into that discussions and have arguments or talk about this and that. I believe you have your own system and style and philosophy of dog training. I respect your point of view if you happen to be a dog trainer. It seems to be that it says Robert Hines dog training. You seems to be that you are a dog trainer. Um, and I respect your opinion and your ideas. But on my channel, I focus on training dogs. Using my method of dog training, which is using play and praise reward system, I would say a bit different than typical dog trainers that you see out there. Uh, Other dog trainers are either using a lot of treats, they're using a lot of domination, they use a lot of aversive tools and methods such as shock collars and all that. I don't use any of those. I don't agree to use those. I don't feel comfortable using those. And I have my own style and system, and I stay on my lane and I don't bother other dog trainers. I share my opinion about other dog trainers, but I respect other dog trainers. One thing we can agree, all dog trainers are trying to help dog owners. They love dogs. All dog trainers, they love dogs. They love what they're doing. And they want to share their eureka moment with other dog owners. And I respect that. And I understand that. And I love that. And I'm one of them. I have found my own, I have had my own eureka moment, and I'm sharing my message to my dog owners. This is how I have trained my dogs, and I've trained thousands of dogs, thousands of, helped and coached thousands of dog owners. I know and I believe in my method and my system and my mission, and that's my goal, to help dog owners. And I respect you, Robert, as well as a dog trainer, and I hope you are able to achieve your goals and be successful in your journey of dog training and get the results that you want, and impact and change dog owners um, from your perspective. Uh, Before we end this live dog training session, I want to make sure that you go ahead and grab the handbook that I provide for dog owners, especially busy professional dog owners who are looking for solutions and ideas to deal with their dogs and address their dogs, especially if you don't have enough time to train your dog. There is a solution, there is a way to do it. Go ahead and grab this handy handbook. The link is in the description as well. If you want to work with me, and if you feel that you are in need of help and you want to work with me, and you like my system, my method, and my philosophy, there's a link below in the description as well, that you can get in touch with me and we can start our dog training journey together. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. I hope I was able to bring you some solutions and ideas regarding separation anxiety. Separation anxiety is something that I would say many dog owners are dealing with. Um, it's something that I used to deal with it myself with my dogs, but because I excuse me, because I changed the way that I approach overall my dogs. Remember, um, I provide my dogs daily five essential needs, and that has helped, right? And that's one of the solutions to not only separation anxiety but overall unwanted behaviors of dogs. If you're dealing with, I've solved my problems. I don't have issues with my own dogs suffering from separation anxiety. So that's why I suggest you to follow the guidance that I provided today. Um, Learn how to deal with separation anxiety from deeper inner point of view um, rather than using band-aid solutions and quick solutions and quick problem solving. Those things don't bring a real solution, deep solution, and a solution that can help you to have life lasting results. Just like all those CBD oil and this and that. John says I would never give CBD to my dog. It's not necessary. Yes, it's not necessary. I mean, in some cases, some dog trainers do suggest this product to the dog owners. CBD oil, it has other benefits. And not only it's not used only for separation anxiety. It has other benefits as well. If you read the studies that is been done, it's not a um, bad product. It's good. It is beneficial, but I wouldn't suggest only to use it as a tool to deal with your dog's separation anxiety. It has other health benefits, but as a solution for separation anxiety is not an ideal tool. Robert said, "I'm out. Sorry if I made you uncomfortable. Had to define some things. Hard to define some things. Uh, no, you didn't make uncomfortable. It's just that today I was talking about separation anxiety. I wasn't talking about uh, specifically behavior and things that has to do with uh, definitions of dog training. Today I was more specifically talking about separation anxiety. But I welcome questions and comments like that. Yeah. Also, um, when we talk about behavior and things like that, from let's say trainer to trainer, the audience loses it. They don't understand what we're talking. We're using jargons that dog trainers only use, and it, it doesn't have an impact to dog owners. I would talk to you separately and maybe in a different opportunity that we are talking specifically about dog training and behavior. But today we were just talking about separation anxiety. So I hope you enjoyed today's live session. If you have any questions and I didn't get to answer them, or you come up with the questions later on, feel free to ask your questions in the comments area. I'll be reading them, and I'll be answering those as well. Um, and overall, there is a solution for separation anxiety. I just want you to know that, and hopefully you will find the solution and be able to solve your dog's extreme or mild level of separation anxiety. Thank you very much. If you enjoyed this live session, this program, please give it a like, share, and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. Thank you very much. And until next time, have fun with your dog, and I'll see you next time. Take care.